welcome to Higher Ed Matters. I'm Josh Pastramos. I'm an enrollment and marketing consultant, and I'm here today with our social media experts, Jordan and Rashida, and we're going to be talking about the TikTok.
The tickety talk.
And so, y'all, you know, of course, that I am brand new to TikTok, right? We're talking like probably a week. I still have no idea how the algorithm works. I'm not even really sure what the algorithm is. So let's talk a little bit about, you know, what exactly is TikTok and how are folks using it?
Yeah, so TikTok, I'm going to keep this very short and sweet. It's essentially a short form video content platform that basically procures content for people to obsess over. It learns who you are at your most rooted levels and shows you those videos and that content that you really want to see. So originally, TikTok's headline or tagline was "Make Your Day." And now it's like you got to see this.
Or like make your whole week because you don't get off.
Yes, and now it's you got to see this, right? It's because they want to push that, you know, share it with everybody. You have to see this type of moment. But just pushing that short form content and keeping users engaged. That's really what we're here for on TikTok.
Yeah. It's the thing about TikTok that's funny to me is it started out as like the kids were using it, if you will. But the pandemic changed a lot of things, like a lot of things. But it's now like everybody and their mom's on TikTok now. And I think that's kind of, for me personally, I love it because of that. Because there is literally a TikTok, quote unquote, for every walk of life. Yes. Like it doesn't matter like what your interest is. There is something there's a somebody who is making content that is for you on TikTok. And I just think that's wonderful and hilarious.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So I know that, you know, we started talking about TikTok, I feel, a couple years ago. And like you mentioned, Rashida, the pandemic really kind of changed how we thought about TikTok, you know, is the new social media platform. You know, and people were hesitant, I think, really when talking with colleges and universities. You know, we're recommending it, but there was a lot of hesitancy. And now we're starting to see folks understand it, I think, a little bit better and maybe want to dip their toes into, you know, creating a TikTok channel for their university or even looking at the digital space. What changed?
Yeah, I kind of feel like with anything new in marketing, a lot of universities are more timid with experimenting just because a lot of schools, you know, have those limited funds and they want to make sure that they know exactly or at least somewhat of what their return is going to be for these platforms. But with TikTok, I think another pivot for that is creating that video content. They were always super nervous about, you know, one, students handling the content and creating that content, and then two, the effects on the brand and how, you know, that really comes across. But I think as we're seeing more schools get into the TikTok space, I think it's, you know, lessening those worries a little bit more, and they're seeing exactly how we can use TikTok to push, you know, initiatives for at the university level.
Agreed. And I think for a while, TikTok wasn't actively doing advertising in terms of like taking paid and things like that. And again, before the pandemic, and I won't say the only people on the app, but the people on the app were basically just doing dance challenges and they were young. And while that was, yes, that's the college's target market, it's still, we were unable to kind of like understand how it could be used.
Well, I mean, that's an awesome kind of transition into, you know, it is mainly used for entertainment. So how is it specifically built for college recruitment?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure Jordan has takes on this too, but I think that it's when a student is looking at, especially in a pandemic times when you're not visiting as many colleges as you were before, in-person visits are down, blah, blah, blah. It's important for schools to find a way to show, of all, what life is like on campus during a pandemic and afterwards, and just the personality of the school. So TikTok becomes a way for universities to show in an organic feel what it's like to be a student at their school, what their school is about, what they stand for, and all of those things. So I think once the universities started to understand that, like it's a real cheap tool to do that. Like you can spend absorbent amounts of money on virtual visit things and all of those things, which have a place and a time and things like that too. But I think as a person is researching where they want to spend the next 4 years of their lives, seeing it organically through TikTok has a lot of weight to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think TikTok gives the ability to show the school in a way that a website or a link or an email or just can't, because we're, the content is directly from the students for the most part. You get a real in-person feel without actually having to be there, because they're interacting in a way that's normal for them for their everyday life. It's not, pose for, hey, this is what we're trying to get across. It's, hey, this is really what we're doing, and this is really what campus looks like and feels like every day. So I think that being able to use that to mirror your already existing marketing tactics, I think it fits perfectly.
That's what I was going to say too. I'm glad you segued perfectly into where my mind was going, is that TikTok is not a replacement for the other digital things that you are doing. And I think that's important. So you don't move effort to TikTok and take it away from Instagram or Facebook or any of those. Cause I mean, like Jordan can attest to in our paid strategies, like students are still actually using Facebook as a conversion tool. So TikTok becomes more of your awareness play, and Facebook and Instagram are still kind of where you're getting people or students to actually convert. And I think it's important to note, I guess, that like we know the research tells us over and over again that Gen Z doesn't want any of that like cookie cutter, beautiful, like fluff content. Like, yeah, they're not here for that. They're not interested in that. And we also know from research that they perceive Instagram to be that. When brands are on Instagram, they're giving us their highlight reel, if you will. See what I did there? They're giving us that. And so they're going to TikTok to see more of the grassroots feel of the brand, and in our case, obviously, the university.
Absolutely. And even in some of our research, just overall, having that more real feel, maybe it's not the highlight reel, as you would say, but giving
with
some...
an A. Not two E's.
Exactly. But having that, addressing more, negative pieces or... things that aren't necessarily the most beautiful and prettiest things to talk about, I think TikTok is the perfect place for that, because Gen Z also doesn't want to see everything the way a school would like to present it, but they want to understand the positives and the negatives, and I think TikTok is a great way to address those types of things.
So, what do you say to typical leadership doesn't like the unknown, right? And so, I mean, I've had multiple meetings with VPs, and there's concern over what is being potentially or what could potentially be posted, and the concern that they cannot control the conversation. And so I think we're all in agreement that this is clearly where we're going. This is the audience that we need to speak with. But when you do get those concerns of content and not being able to necessarily control exactly how it's being perceived or exactly how it's being presented, how do you ease some of those fears?
Well, for starters, their students are already posting stuff about them. Like, so you don't really have control. Like, it's like I have the crappy food in the dining hall. Like, those are all like their students are already on TikTok sharing their lives, and their lives are on campus. So that the fear of like, I can't control it, it's already happening.
So just get over it.
Yes, and you can control it. So like, while we would say like, it's not like you're starting a university TikTok page and you're giving the password to every single student on your campus. You would entrust whether that be your ambassadors, your tour guides, whatever it is, and those are the students you would entrust with the content or with making the content and posting the content. And of course, it would be monitored by the same person who's monitoring Instagram.
Sure. So in terms of content, let's talk about, who should you entrust in creating this content? I know that a lot of, there's social media managers out there that are typically kind of creating the posting and putting them out there, often are using, the very polished look and feel to it. So is that, do we entrust it solely in the hands of students? Should it be a collaboration? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I definitely... For our clients, we urge them to have a point of contact who is a staff member. So you definitely want to keep someone that, knows the P's and Q's to be a point of that. But then you also point a person for like a student that is the head of the student group, right? So they understand the P's and Q's, but they also can communicate, the goals and understand what type of content the students want. So you can have a whole group of students, but make sure you have that one point person. And then from there, you educate the entire group on the do's and don'ts and, the things that align with the brand for the school. Mm-hmm. So it's very much so a group effort, but it's a controlled group, and that's where you do have a say-so in what gets posted and what kind of content you're actually putting out.
Agreed. I would say, echoing everything Jordan just said, the content itself doesn't also only need to be students. We're showing off the personality of the school, and who's on the front lines of the personality of the school? The professors, the faculty. So having them get involved in, if it's something that's trending, doing a dance, dancing with mascots, all of those things, like that's really good content and shows students that this is a place I want to be. The teachers care about me.
Absolutely. And I know some faculty and staff are nervous about filming their own content and things like that. So having that group of students that can be like, hey, we want to get a professor in on this. We're going to show you, how, like the best way to get your message across and what things you can participate in. I think having that group to go out and reach out to either, whether it's regular students on campus, just interviewing them, or taking a walk through, beautiful scenery on campus, or interviewing those professors. I think that group can initiate all of that, but definitely involve everything on your campus.
Absolutely. And since we're talking about, the student groups, let's talk about one of our partner schools. We've got DePaul, the theater school at DePaul. And I know that, Jordan, you worked with them a good bit, and the students are doing a lot of that content. So let's talk about a recent post that they put up and how it's just exploded.
Yes, absolutely. So we worked with Theater School. They did not have a TikTok before coming and partnering with us on this effort. So we kind of put a guide together for them to get them started posting organically. And then we took some of those videos and ran them for paid ads. And those did phenomenally. We'll talk a little bit about, those efforts for paid a little bit later. But as far as this post goes, the last time I looked, which is this morning,
she's not counting her.
The post had 249.3 thousand likes. And, this is coming from, it's been maybe 6 months since we've started this TikTok. So this is their first viral post. But a thing to note about the actual piece of content is that it's very niche. So it's not pushing a specific agenda as far as like applying or things like that, but it fits and it matches and it resonates with those theater students. Yep. So I think having all the other content that pushes, visits and applying and things like that, you must have it on your page, because after they get done watching that viral moment that is super relatable, they're going to go to the page to figure out what else they can find out. Mm-hmm. So having that good mix of content in there is definitely key.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, because you don't want all of your content to be pushing, because that's not necessarily what TikTok is known for. TikTok is there to entertain. I would actually say that more of your organic posts should be more of the trends, more of the things that are showing off your personality, more of those things, and then let some of your paid strategy do the heavy CTR lifts. So do the heavy apply now, learn more, like those kinds of things.
Gotcha. So I know, Jordan, you mentioned that we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think now's the perfect time to bring it up. Those that are exploring TikTok and either, they've just launched their channel or they're fairly new in the channel. Which direction to go? Do we go organic? Do we go in a paid strategy? There's so many, I think, still unknowns that people are searching for that guidance. So what do you recommend, when you're at the beginning steps, where to start?
Absolutely. So I think having an organic presence on TikTok is helpful, but you do not need to have an organic TikTok account or a business TikTok account to run ads on TikTok. So we can run them through our agency account that we have here at MediaCross. And, as far as creating that content, you can just make content for ads. You don't have to do, if you are super limited. So I know a lot of schools are, and a lot of people are wearing a lot of different hats. So if you do not have the time to dedicate right now to TikTok, that's perfectly fine. But I definitely urge you all to think about pointing someone in the direction of being able to create this content, because there's no escaping. Short form content is here to stay, and I think that it's absolutely necessary.
Yeah, I 1000% agree with that.
Yeah. And this is speaking solely to stakeholders who want to know more of the numbers side of things. As far as, the ads that we run for our clients, we're seeing 3 times the results with half of the cost of Facebook Meta, excuse me.
The artist formerly known as Facebook.
Exactly. So, a lot of cool things are happening. They're adapting really quickly. So as far as, we always have the pains with Facebook of them not knowing and understanding what people want from them as far as capabilities with ads and things like that. TikTok is really listening to their users. So they've already fleshed out so many different things for creators and for agencies and different things to be able to track our ads better. Just recently, they're beta testing being able to run with lists and things like that. And we just recently on our ad account are able to target lists. So that is a huge win for us. We can do, retargeting efforts and of course, audience development, which, moving towards like cookieless is definitely a huge thing to get into. So the TikTok is just, it's here to stay. So I definitely...
I think I would have had a different opinion on that early 2020 because I was a 30-year-old millennial who was like, what is the tickle that talks? Then the millennials come in and they're like, oh, we own the tickety talks. We didn't. I'm here to say we didn't own the tickety talks. We probably do now. I don't know. But I will say I think it is here to stay. Like, absolutely. I don't see it. They're releasing strange things, we think, like the what was it?
The 10-minute videos.
Yes, 10-minute videos. Nobody wants that from TikTok.
But they're trying to compete in that podcast space with everyone else.
Yes.
So with YouTube and with
Facebook podcasts now.
Exactly.
So I agree. It's here to stay. I hope it's here to stay. It's wildly entertaining.
There's so many opportunities here, and I want to point this out here just because even with this is for like an overall social thing to keep in mind, but TikTok is kind of becoming a search engine in itself. Mm-hmm. So gearing your organic posts and your paid posts, wearing that SEO hat is definitely important, and to start thinking about now rather than later. So there, TikTok and all the AI programs and all the things are able to read the words that you have in your captions, actually in the video and things like that. So, and Google is actually starting to index those TikTok videos. So when you search for something, you now have those videos that come across the screen at the top of your Google results. So I know it's nerve-wracking to kind of get into something new, but definitely time to jump in. One of our other clients that we just spoke to with the viral post, the theater school at DePaul, they actually, their students actually get credits or they actually get paid because they work for the admissions office. So they get they get to log those hours making TikToks.
Which is bomb.
Like, who does it? Like, I get to sit here and make TikToks. And that counts towards my hours for work study.
Yep.
Like, let's do it. Like, just...
Because they're already doing it.
Exactly. Find different ways to incentivize, having your TikToks created by your students. It's a no-brainer, really.
Absolutely. And I think that you make a good point because, I can't ever fully take off my director of admissions cap. I mean, it's always there.
It's why we keep you employed.
I appreciate it. But I mean, I think especially when you talk about work study, that is a great opportunity. We talked about ambassadors and folks that welcome to the campus, but that's a great way that, it's very low cost to the institution to be able to tap into that talent that, again, they're already on there. And so speaking of the theater school at DePaul, which I want to say that I felt it as a theater geek. I felt that TikTok in my soul. I mean, it was just,
I got served it on my For You page. Like I was like, well, I think I commented because I was like, wow, go, because I'm not usually in the theater talk.
But what other schools are doing it well? Like what ones are we seeing out there that they've gotten it? They're doing a great job with running it.
Yeah. So the University of Kansas, or KU, is one of those verified accounts, verified university accounts that does a great job at incorporating their brand and their brand colors in every single video. So when you scroll through their page, you can clearly tell that it's KU. You can see the colors, you see the mascot, or you see the brand or the logo at all times through every video. It might not be all of it at once, but every video contains that. So you're like, okay, this is clearly a page for KU. But I've seen other schools that don't do that. It's more of like the students talking, but they're not wearing a branded shirt, or they don't have anything, or like a branded water bottle, anything in the video. And it's kind of like, okay, what am I here for again? I like this piece of content, but what am I here for? Like, what is this? So making sure that keeping that, that branded element in there is something that KU does really well, but they also have a good variety of content. So of course they feature their sports, but they also have, students and faculty and, tours through the campus and, different things like that. So having a good mixture of content is definitely key.
For sure. This is not an example of a university that's doing TikTok well, but I know here at MediaCross we have talked about the use of mascots. So in terms of content that schools can be using, so mascots are having like a grand old time on TikTok right now. And we were all like, well, who else has mascots? Colleges and universities. So that's another piece of content. Like your mascot already has a personality of its own. Like that's part of the personality of the school. And so using the mascot in these trends and as part of the ethos that makes up your TikTok page is really important. And so one of the TikTok pages I cannot get enough of. It doesn't make sense. But they're doing the mascot thing really, really well is Duolingo. If you have looked at their TikTok, and they have like a ton of followers. Like they have more organic followers than like I feel like a brand should have. But their content is also very organic. Like I don't think they're running any paid. So like they're getting all of this organic content just by like showing up as their brand self through the use of their mascot. And it's paying dividends for them. And that's, I don't want to say it's free because someone obviously has to wear the mascot suit. But it's not they're not sinking millions of dollars into like a campaign to get this awareness.
Sure. I feel like the mascot it feels very reminiscent of when YouTube kind of started, and you start to see a lot of early days, at the college university leaning on the mascot to really push in the YouTube space. So it's great to see that it's kind of coming back and getting a new life breathed into it. So we've decided we need to jump all into TikTok. And Rashida and Jordan, as experts, how can we help those that are deciding, we need to get into TikTok? We're not exactly sure how to do it, or we've stepped in, but we really want to ensure we're moving in the right direction. Where do we help?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've rolled out an initiative for current clients, people who've never heard of us before, literally anybody that wants to talk TikTok and social media.
Any university. Don't have your mom call us.
Yeah, please don't. That's awkward. Yes. So we are doing these social media consultations. So we take a look at all of your social accounts. If you have a TikTok, that's great. We'll look at that too. And then we kind of just chat with you and your team about the content that you have and maybe some room for improvement or opportunities to grow. We also have a TikTok user guide for higher ed that's available to download from our site. And we'll link to our website in the show notes.
Awesome. And they can contact us by email at highered@mediacross.com.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Fantastic. And how much is it?
The consultation?
Yeah.
The consultation.
Free $99.
Absolutely. 100% free to get those nuggets and move forward with your social.
Fantastic. Well, Rashida, Jordan, it's been a pleasure talking to you today about TikTok, and happy TikToking, y'all.